it is, the Kershaw Blur. Such a commonly owned knife in the knife community. And for good reason. It's a very good general purpose folder at a pretty decent price. Average price for these, 50 bucks. You know, I mean, you can find them for 40 bucks, you can find them for 60 bucks. They come in such a variety of different finishes and looks. I mean, different colors and blade styles, all kinds of stuff. If you pay, you know, around the 80 something to 90 something dollar price range, you can get the same knife with an S30V blade if you want to upgrade your blade composition. This one happens to support some Sandvik steel. This is the 14C28N. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute because that might not mean much to anyone, those numbers and letters. But yeah, the Kershaw Blur, just an iconic EDC knife. So many people own this thing, and I'm doing a review on this one because I carried it, and I don't think I've ever done a review on a Kershaw Blur, and that blows people's minds. Ah, such a common knife. Why don't you have a review on one? Well, you know, I never really owned one. I've had them briefly in trades, and I liked them and stuff, but to me it was just kind of generic. You know, so many people had this knife and still do that I didn't feel like it was necessary to talk about. You know, it was really that common. But you know what? It's good to talk about it, you know, for the people who just don't know it. You know, there's people getting into the knife hobby every single day, and this knife is new to them. I've seen this knife for 15 years, you know, I mean, or longer. I don't even remember when this design came out, but it's been a long time. This is one of Ken Onion's probably most popular knife designs, other than maybe the Leek. The Kershaw Leek was certainly up there with Ken Onion models that just, I mean, you saw them everywhere. But yeah, what's super cool about this knife is that there's so many different flavors, so many colors, so many, you know, blade styles, a bunch of different steels were used over the years. I mean, just you name it. So if you like the general feel for this knife, you can fine tune it to your personal style and needs, you know. As far as some specs on this, 3.3 inches on our blade. We have an aluminum handle here with what they call Track Tech inserts. They're basically super hard rubber. It's a rough texture. The inserts are perfectly fit in there. I mean, it's a very nice look. They're also on the back there. Okay, it does actually facilitate a pretty good amount of grip, but it's not uncomfortable. If you drag your nail across, you can tell that it's really hard rubber. But when you're just, you know, putting the flat part of your skin on it, it doesn't really feel like rubber. It feels like, you know, sandpaper or something. It's pretty darn grippy, you know, so it definitely does its job. I like the aluminum frame. You can see the standoffs on the back here. A completely open frame design, which is nice, so it doesn't, you know, gather much lint or dirt and stuff in the pocket. Okay, easy to clean. It is a liner lock, as you can see there. Nice lockup. I like on this all black model. This is a tungsten finish on there, by the way. But I like that they left that lock bar stainless. Just, I don't know. I kind of like it. Just kind of stands out a little bit, so not that I need to know where to look to use that. But I don't know why I do like it, but I do. And you can see that is an insert. It's not part of the liner. There's not a full liner lock, in other words. It's a sub-liner lock, I guess you'd call that. But it does lock up very, very strong in all directions. Okay, very nice design there. As far as centering, you can see this particular model is perfectly centered, which is very nice. This does have a speed safe technology, which is just assisted. So you push that thumb stud just a little bit and wants to shoot out. Okay, no flipper on this particular one. A little bit of jimping on the back, which is purposeful. A little bit of, I mean, it's such a short little run of it, but it's on the frame and the back of the blade there, and it does grab your finger, which is really nice. Ambidextrous thumb studs, so you can use this righty or lefty. Especially since it's speed assisted, okay, or has speed safe in there. I'm not lefty, and I fumble things. My left hand, I don't use it much, at least for knives. So even for me, it's easy to get that out. Okay, whereas with some, you know, manual knives, I might struggle to get a good grip on it initially before flipping it out. Okay, so it's nice. Of course, it's a knife. It's nice for righties to be able to flip over and use that. So yeah, assisted knives, awesome for ambidextrous use. As far as the thumb studs, I'm not a huge fan of these kind of slanted studs. They do work, and they're positioned perfectly. I mean, when you throw your thumb on there, it grabs it very easily. It's kind of hard to miss. I mean, you're going to grab it every time. It's just kind of pointy. I don't know. It's just a preference thing. You know what I mean? Like, they do work wonderfully, you know? I just don't like them. And it's for no other reason than my personal preference, I guess. Functionality wise, totally fine, totally comfortable. Like I said, they're pointy. You're not really grabbing those often, you know. There's no real situation where you're gonna be pushing down like that. So, you know, it's just, I don't know, weird hang up I have, I guess, on it. The tungsten coating's holding on pretty well under use. There's no serious heavy use on this, you know, yet, but you know, in just EDC tasks and chores, did cut up a little bit of cardboard separately before I did this video. And actually I have a piece on the side here so I can give you a cut demo, so I haven't done that in a while. But yeah, I mean, it's holding up pretty well. I know that it's not the best coatings though, so if you have any coated blade, doesn't matter what it is, it's just a matter of when. If you're gonna use your knife, it's when. When's it gonna wear off? Some people like the look of it, you know, wearing off, some people don't. It cleans up fairly nicely. You know, if I were to wipe this down, I'm sure some of the rub marks will come out and stuff, but anyway, not my obviously my chosen blade style. I didn't buy this knife. This is part of a monthly subscription thing, and the Tanto combo edge here is definitely probably one of my least favorite, you know, setups as far as a blade. I like plain edge blades, you know, and more times than not, I'll stay away from Tantos or Tanto style blades. You know, I'll stick with you know, drop points and spear points and things of that nature. Bowies, one of my favorites, or Bowie, depending on how you want to pronounce that. As far as the pocket clip here, I do like the pocket clip quite a bit. It does land on this Track Tech, you know, insert material, so do find it really kind of wants to grab onto the pants pocket there. Not a huge deal though. It's not a super deep conceal clip. Obviously you can see it is tapped and drilled for tip up if you do prefer that. I usually carry knives stock, you know, unless I'm going to carry it, you know, frequently, then I might flop it because, or flip flop it, because I do prefer tip up over tip down normally. But it does come right hand side, tip down. Not swappable to left side carry, but like I said, you can flop that to tip up if you wanted to. As far as the overall length here, 7.8 inches, and the weight is 3.9 ounces. Again, solid aluminum body, open frame here, so I mean, it feels like a lightweight knife, okay? Very comfortable in the hand. Ergonomics are, I mean, you can see its knife is very, very simply shaped. Very slight curve here for the finger choil, it's not super deep, but also dips down in the back here, so the pointer finger and thumb get a nice kind of grip on the skinny part of the body here, and the rest opens up a little to fill out the hand. It's very ergonomic, it's very comfortable, very rounded, you know, handle scales here. You know, it's just, it's pretty nice. It's actually very, very comfortable in the hand. I like it a lot. Like I said before, I mean, not my chosen blade style, only because if I do serrations, I want full serrations, and I do love more of a curve than the Tanto or Tanto style. But just personal preference, I can't say huge benefit, is very, very pointy. All right, got a piece of cardboard here. See, it doesn't take much to get that point to grip into the cardboard. You know what I mean? Nice point on it. And when these knives are sharp, okay, the serrations do work. You can see here, but just as most people know, with time, the serrations dull out. When they dull out, it's very hard to sharpen. Yeah, I mean, overall, it really is a great knife. It's an iconic knife. It's a very historical knife. In the knife community, you say Kershaw Blur, most people know what you're talking about, and that says a lot. You know, Ken Onion, obviously a very successful knife designer, came out with just tons and tons and tons of knives that I love. I mean, tons of innovative designs, locking mechanisms. I mean, he's an innovator, and he's a huge name in the knife industry, right? And this is just one of his original designs. I just really like it. It's simple, it's affordable. Like I said, I mean, most people, 50 bucks, you know, most days of the week, depending on what you want, what flavor or version of the knife, you know. So it's pretty good. As far as the edge retention on this Sandvik steel, actually I'm a fan of Sandvik steel. There's a factory, a Sandvik factory. Actually, it's not, they're not producing the steel there. I think they just ship it there. It's kind of a warehouse, and then they're, you know, I guess fulfilling orders there. But every time I pass it, I always smile. You know, it makes me think of knives. But this is actually, it's a pretty decent steel. The 14C28N was specifically designed by Sandvik for knife usage, okay? I know the 14C28N, and I believe it's the 12C27, is also used for the, you know, bottoms of ice skates, as well as ice drills, okay? A lot of people say that the 14C28N was created or invented by Sandvik for razor blades. I'm not 100% on that, but I think that's kind of a rumor. There was a previous Sandvik steel that was used or designed for razor blades, The 14C28N was specifically designed for knife stuff. It just happens to be used for other things, like I said, like ice skate blades as well as ice drills, because it's very, well, I shouldn't say very, but it is a harder steel and it does hold an edge, which is nice. You know, it's not the best. I mean, 154 cm will probably outperform this. So it's not like a super steel or anything, but as far as some of the more affordable steels, it's a pretty good choice. You know, I've been pretty happy with all the Sandvik, you know, steels that I've used in previous years and on all different knives, not just Kershaw. But I wouldn't shy away from it. You know, some people, they kind of compare it to like 420C, or excuse me, 420A or 440C, which are two different steels completely. But some people, you know, I don't know, they don't use as much variety of knife steels, so maybe they don't have as much reference. I'm not going to say it's like a certain steel. Sandvik 14C28N is just like Sandvik 14C28N. You know what I mean? I'm not going to compare it to anything else. A lot of times I will try to compare certain steels with other ones that are well known, just for people who are kind of getting into the knife, you know, hobby. And because not everyone cares about steel composition. You know, hey, is it sharp? Does it stay sharp? All right, cool. It's all you need to know. Some people, you know, really dive deep into this and they want to know the carbon content, how much chromium it is, and comparing it to this steel and this company and this thing. So anyway, the important thing is it sharp? Yeah, it comes sharp. Does it hold an edge? Pretty decent. For 50 bucks, it's a pretty good choice. I like it. I like Sandvik steels. In other words, I've had good experiences with them in the past. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. It's a really iconic knife for a reason. There's a reason why people like these things, you know? To me, they always seem kind of boring just because so many people had them. But honestly, it's worth revisiting. You know, if you've never had a Kershaw blur, look them up. Find them on a website, find them on your favorite knife dealer or on Amazon, or find it on eBay, or if you're lucky enough to have a knife store by you, go support local business. Walk into the store, find a Kershaw blur, get it in your hand, get a feel for it, you know, and see if you like it. I never gave it much thought just because they were so abundant, but revisiting it and using it, I kind of fell in love with it. You know, it's a simple knife, but I like it. You know, it's a common man's knife. It's not a huge collectible, you know, but it's nice. I like it. I mean, I'm not always a fan of assisted knives. I think most times I'd prefer a manual knife over an assisted knife, but like I said, for me, the biggest advantage is if I have to grab my knife with my left hand, it's always going to come out. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's cool. And by the way, assisted, for the people who don't know, it's not considered an automatic knife. This is not illegal where automatic knives are illegal. Not to say that a police officer wouldn't understand those laws. Like I've said before, police officers are not lawyers. They don't know all the laws. They might open this knife and say, yeah, that's an automatic knife, and not know what they're talking about. So don't, you know, just because something's legal doesn't mean a cop will know. You know what I mean? So there you go. There's my review. Kershaw blur has a good record for a good reason. This particular model, by the way, is a 1670 TBLK-ST. What's that stand for? Well, 1670 is the blur model, and all these other things are just referring to this specific setup. T, I guess, Tanto, BLK for black blade, ST for serrated, you know, so there you go. My favorite blur, I have to say. I mean, I like the, obviously the S30V versions are awesome just because of the steel upgrade. And it's totally worth an extra 20 or 30 bucks if you're going to be carrying this every day. But visually, my favorite blur, I think, has to be the 1670 BW. And I saw that at Blade HQ. I don't know if they still have it in stock or if they're still making that one, but basically it's an all blacked out version. Simple plain edge blade with a black wash finish on the blade. I think it's just super sexy. It's my, like I said, my favorite blur visually, you know. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, it's got a good following for good reason. So if you never had one, I'd recommend at least getting one in hand. You know, you never know what you're gonna like until you actually hold it. There's plenty of knives, dozens of knives that I thought sucked. I looked at pictures, I thought, I don't like the way it looks, I don't know, I don't like it. Not interested whatsoever. And then I got it from a viewer, or I got it in a trade, or in one case, a couple years ago, I was in a store and I saw it and I decided to handle it, and I liked it. You never know what you're like until it's in your hands, you know? So there you go, Kershaw blur. I'm glad I gave it a second look. Not by choice. Like I said, I didn't buy the thing, but once I got it in my hands, I kind of fell in love with it. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.